the nightmare before Christmas and roll through the halls.
The Haunted Mansion has opened back up, but only with a virtual queue, and people are really confused about it. Not to mention all the construction going on. That's why today we're talking all things Haunted Mansion for the 2024 fall and holiday season. So let's get started. You may or may not be aware that in January, Disneyland closed the doors to America's most infamous Haunted Mansion in order to make some much-needed updates and changes as part of Disneyland's preparations for bigger things coming down the line, as well as some changes to make things more ADA-friendly. They have since reopened it with a partial queue area and virtual queue system to allow guests to enjoy the attraction while they're still working on things. And we will talk about how to do the virtual queue in just a moment. If you want, you can skip to the next chapter, that's where it's at. But first, let's talk about some of the changes we've seen so far and what's to come. Now, if you've gone to Disneyland September through mid-January over the last couple of years, then you know it's when the Haunted Mansion gets a Nightmare Before Christmas overlay and things get crazy in that area. The standby line spills into the courtyard area between the ride and Tiana's Palace. Even the lightning lane backs up. Then you add any lines for seasonal churros and popcorn buckets in the area, plus people getting on and off the train, and it can become a literal nightmare very fast. And that's why we're seeing the changes done to this exterior queue area. This means that they will take out some of the current courtyard area and expand further back, allowing not only more space for lines, but what I'm guessing will be a nicer line wait experience in general. With what they've finished so far, you can already see some of those changes and what they look like. The first thing I noticed is the fountain from the courtyard that had to be taken out is now repurposed as a lawn decoration in the front area. As you can see here, it used to be just grass, and now you have new landscaping and that lawn decoration fountain. The next thing I noticed was more line space up front. They've basically taken out some grass space for an extra line lane. They've replaced pretty much all of the handrails with new ones, including all of the temporary chain ones are now permanent ones. I'll show you some before and after images so you can kind of see what I'm talking about there. They have moved the hearse for what will be the new lightning lane check-in area, so hopefully they won't have the lightning lane backing up into the walkways anymore. They got rid of the handrails that went down the middle of the stairs, and of course they had to do a lot of re-landscaping. It looks like a lot of the new plants are still a little bit in shock, so hopefully those will recover and we'll have a full, robust graveyard garden area again. Now, when all this new queue area is finished, it looks like you'll cross in the front of the building and then snake around in the new garden areas in the back, which will probably be a lot better than the old, tight, hot chain switchback system that they used to have. I know people can get very change-phobic with Disneyland, but I think all of these changes are just going to make things so much better. I think it will add extra storyline to the exterior of the ride and then clear out the walkways. It will make getting on the ride a more pleasant and accessible experience for a lot of people, so I just don't know how you can lose with this change. As far as the ride itself is concerned, besides the usual annual gingerbread house changing and some things in the attic scene moving around, just a little things here and there, I could swear that they have adjusted the lighting in the ride, especially in the graveyard scene. And I know I'm like a lighting nerd and this is weird and silly to some people, but seriously, look at the difference between last year's captured footage and this year's. Granted, I did have a better camera this year, but it still was very obvious to my naked eye that the lighting was zhuzhed up. You can look at these comparisons and tell me what you think. Have you ridden it already? Did you notice the lighting changes? But seriously, it looks like a pretty big difference to me. Something else to point out is how much darker the classic Haunted Mansion scenes are than the holiday scenes. So it will be interesting to see if classic Haunted Mansion gets some kind of lighting boost. All I know is once all of this work is done, it's going to be a whole lot better in the walkways and in theming in the general area. When it will be done, who knows? They haven't announced that yet. My guess would be sometime around late October, early November, just in time for Tiana's Bayou Adventure to open up, as well as the holiday season starting, but we're going to talk about all of those details in another video. Finally, let's talk about how to go about doing the virtual queue so you can actually ride the Haunted Mansion this fall. First things first, you need the Disneyland app on your phone with everyone's tickets linked to it. Secondly, you can't join the queue until you have scanned in your ticket and entered Disneyland Park. Next, you'll need to hop on the Disneyland app. I suggest doing this as early as you can. When I joined on a moderately busy day, first thing in the morning, my wait was still 4 hours. Busier days will fill up faster than that, so don't put off joining the queue. You can join the queue by either going to the main menu and then going to the Lightning Lane entry section and then scrolling down to the Haunted Mansion and clicking on the virtual queue, or you can find it on the map and do it that way as well. Once you do this, you'll be given a group number, and then you continue to enjoy the park. You'll be sent a notification either on your phone if you have push notifications allowed, or just a notification on the app when it's your group's time to ride. But keep an eye on how fast they're calling the groups, because you only get an hour-long window of time to get in line once you're called, which sounds like a long time, but it's not. You don't want to be in a 45-minute line in Toontown or Tomorrowland when your group number is called. So when it's getting closer to your group's number, start moving a little bit closer to the Haunted Mansion area. Once your group number gets called, make your way to the attraction. You will probably come across a scary-looking line in front of the ride with confused-looking people standing in it. Get in that line, that's for the virtual queue. You won't scan your line entry codes until you are going through the gates, but once you scan your code and walk through the gates, you won't need the app again, and you'll be haunting the halls of the Haunted Mansion in no time at all. Now, if this video was helpful to you, show me some love by giving it a like. I suggest subscribing to my channel because I've got more videos coming your way. Thank you for watching and take care.